Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Now let's see few more questions based on bar graph. So the question here is, use the bar graph shown here in this figure to answer these questions. The first question is, which is the most popular pet? And the second question is, how many children have dog as a pet? Now as we can see here from the bar graph, the highest bar is corresponding to the cats. So therefore we can say answer for the first question, that is which is the most popular pet, will be cats. And the second question here is, how many children have dog as a pet? Now as we can see, this bar is representing dogs, and number of students having dogs as a pet are 8. Therefore answer for this question will be 8. So this is how we can use the bar graph to answer few questions. Now here is one more question based on bar graph. The question is, read the bar graph shown here in this figure and answer the questions. Number of books sold by a bookstore during 5 consecutive years. The first question is about how many books were sold in 1989. So as we can see, in 1989 number of books sold were approximately equal to 180. So the answer for the first question will be 180, and then we have to tell how many books were sold in 1990. So it will be approximately, we can say 480. And then for 1992, here is the bar for the 1992. So it will be approximately 220. Now the second question is, in which year were about 475 books sold? So 475 books were sold in the year 1990, as we can see here from the bar graph. So answer for the second question will be 1990, and then we have to tell in which year about 225 books were sold. Now as we can see from the data, 225 books were sold in the year 1992. So it will be 1992. So this is how we can read the bar graph. Now let's see one more question based on bar graphs. The question is, number of children in 6 different classes are given below. Represent the data on a bar graph. So the tabular form of the data is given to us. We have to convert it to a bar graph. Different classes are represented and their corresponding number of children are also represented here. And after forming the bar graph, we have to answer this question. The first question is, how would you choose a scale? Now as we can see here, the number of children are 135, 120, 95, 100, 90 and 80. So for this we can choose a scale which is 1 unit is equal to 20 children. Now let's draw a bar graph using this scale. As we have already chosen the scale, which is 1 unit is equal to 20 children. Now the vertical line here will be representing number of children. So let's write it here. This is for children. This point is 0, and then this one will be 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. So till 140 it is enough, because the highest number here is 135, which we have to represent here on the graph. So now for the class 5th, number of students are 135. Now here on the horizontal line we will represent the classes. So here is for the 5th class, and then we will draw for the 6th class, and then 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th class. So as we can see, in the 5th class number of children are 135. So its bar will be like this. Now the number of children in 6th class are 120. So the bar will be of the height 120. And then in the 7th class there are 95 students, or we can say 95 children. So its bar will be like this. And then for class 8 it is having 100 children. So its graph or its bar will be having height of 100. And then for class 9th it is 90. So it will be like this. And then for class 10th it is 80. So its bar will be of this height. So this is how we can prepare a bar graph. Now we have to answer these questions here. The first question is, which class has the maximum number of children? Now as we can see, the highest bar is corresponding to class 5th. So it will be 5th class who is having maximum number of students. So it will be class 5. And then we have to tell which class is having minimum number of children. Now as we can see, the shortest bar is for class 10th. So the minimum number of students will be in class 10th. And then we have to find the ratio of students of class 6th to class of. Now we have to find the ratio of students of class 6th to the students of class 8. So it will be 120 is to 100, as number of students in class 6 are 120 and number of students in class 8 are 100. Now by simplifying this, we will get the ratio as 6 is to 5. So this will be the final ratio. So in this question, we have formed a bar graph from a tabular form of data, and then using this bar graph we have answered few questions. Now let's see one more question based on bar graph. The question is, the performance of students in first term and second term is given here in this table. We have to draw a double bar graph choosing appropriate scale, and then we have to answer these questions. The first question is, in which subject has the child improved his performance the most? And the second is, in which subject is the improvement the least? And then the third question is, has the performance gone down in any subject? So let's draw a bar graph for this first. Now first of all we have to choose a scale. Now according to the marks here, we can choose the scale as 1 unit. Now first of all we have to choose a scale here. Now according to the marks here, we can choose the scale as 1 unit is equal to 10 marks. Now the vertical line here will be representing marks of the each and every subject. So let's write it here. And the horizontal line will be representing different subjects. Let's mark it here. Let's represent English with E, Hindi with H, and mathematics with M, and science with S, and social studies or social science with SS. And as the scale is 1 unit is equal to 10 marks, so let's write it here. This point is 0, and then this will be 10, this will be 20, this will be 30, and then 40, 50, 60, 70, this will be 80 here, and then 90, and then 100. Now we have to draw the bars for each and every subject. Now in English, marks obtained are 67. So the bar for the first term will be like this for the subject English. And in the second term, marks in English are 70. So its graph will be like this. And then for Hindi, in the first term it is 72. So it will be like this. And 65 in the second term, it will be like this. And then 88 marks in first term in mathematics. So it will be like this. And then 95 marks in second term in maths. So it will be like this. And then in science it is 81 marks in first term. So the graph will be like this. And then 85 marks in the second term. So the graph will be like this. And now in social science it is 73 marks in first term. So its graph will be like this. And 75 marks in the second term. So it will be just slightly higher than the first term, as difference is very less. So like this we can form a bar graph for this given data. Now let's shade the every second bar which will represent the marks of the second term. We can do it like this. Similarly for Hindi also. This will help us in differentiating between the marks of second term and the first term. Then it will be easier for us to compare marks of two different terms. So like this, we will just simply shade every second bar. Now we will write it here. This empty box is representing first term, and the shaded box, this box is representing second term. So this is how we formed a bar graph, or we have drawn a bar graph for the given data. Now based on this bar graph, we have to answer few questions. The first question is, in which subject has the child improved his performance the most? Now as we can see from the bar graph, difference between heights of non-shaded bar graph, non-shaded bar and the shaded bar is maximum for maths. So the answer for the first question will be maths. And the second question is, in which subject the improvement is the least? Now as we can see, difference between the heights of non-shaded bar and the shaded bar is minimum in the social science. So it will be social science. And the third question is, has the performance gone down in any subject? Can we see any bar in which the non-shaded bar is higher than the shaded bar? Yes, it is for Hindi, as we can see here. For Hindi, the shaded bar is lower than the non-shaded bar, which means the performance has gone down in Hindi. Therefore, answer for the third question will be Hindi. So in this question, one data was given to us. First we have formed a bar graph, or we have drawn a bar graph using the given data, and then we have answered few questions using the bar graph. So we have seen here how bar graphs helps us in interpreting the data in very easier way, especially when we have to compare any two quantities. Like here we were comparing marks of first term and the second term. So by using the double bar graph, it became very easy for us to compare marks of different subjects in two different terms. Now let's see one more question. So the question here is, consider the data collected from a survey of a colony. So this data is representing favorite sport: cricket, basketball, swimming, hockey and athletics. And it is representing number of people watching the sport and number of people participating in the sport. So we have to draw double bar graph choosing an appropriate scale. Then we have to tell which sport is most popular, and then which is more preferred, watching or participating in sport. Now let's draw the bar graph for the given data first. First of all, we have to choose a scale. Now according to the data given to us, we can choose the scale as 1 unit is equal to 200 people. Now the vertical line here will be representing number of people, or we can simply write people here. Now since the scale is 1 unit is equal to 200 people, so let's mark the numbers here on the vertical line. It will be 200, 400, 600, 800, and then 1000, and then 1200, and after it will be 1400. So till here it will be enough, because the highest value given here is 1240. Now on the x-axis or on the horizontal line, we will be writing different sports. Let's write cricket with the letter C, basketball with the letter B, swimming with the letter S, and hockey with the letter H, and athletics with A. Now number of people watching cricket are 1240. So we have to draw a bar according to it. So it will be somewhere, so it will be like this. And number of people participating in cricket are 620. So it will be approximately like this. Now for basketball, number of people watching are 470. So it will be like this, and then number of people participating in basketball are 320. So it will be like this. And then for swimming it is 510. So it will be approximately like this. And number of people participating in it are 320. So it will be like this. Now for hockey it is 423. So it will be approximately like this. And number of people participating in hockey are 250. So it will be like this. And for athletics, number of people watching are 250. So we can draw one bar like this, and number of people participating are 105. So it will be approximately like this. Now for the participating bars, or for the second bar, what we can do, we can shade it just to differentiate between both the bars. So now the unshaded bar are representing number of people watching the sports, and the shaded bars are representing number of people watching, and the shaded bars are representing number of people participating in sports. So the blank one are representing watching sports, and the shaded one are representing people participating in it. So this is how we formed a double bar graph using this tabular information. Now we have to answer few questions based on these bar graphs. The first question is, which sport is most popular? Now as we can see, the bars for cricket are higher. Therefore, the most popular sport will be cricket. Hence, the answer for this question will be cricket. And the second question is, which is more preferred, watching or participating in sports? Now as we can see, the empty bars are higher than the shaded ones. Therefore, we can say watching of the sports is more preferred. So in this question, from a tabular form of data, we have formed a, or we have drawn a bar graph, and then using the bar graph, we have answered few questions. Now here is the last question of this video. The question is, take the data giving the minimum and the maximum temperature of various cities given in the beginning of this chapter, which is shown here in this table, table 3.1. We have to plot a double bar graph using the data, and we have to answer these questions. The first question here is, which city has the largest difference between the minimum and the maximum temperature of the given date? The second question is, which is the most hottest city and which is the coldest city? And then we have to tell, name two cities where maximum temperature of one was less than the minimum temperature of the other. And then we have to tell the city which has least difference between its minimum and the maximum temperature. So now first of all, we have to use this data and form a double bar graph. Now for graphing this, first of all, we have to choose a scale. So let's take the scale as 1 unit is equal to 5 degrees Celsius. Now the vertical line here will be representing temperature and the horizontal line will be representing different cities. Let's name it as Ahmedabad with A, Amritsar with AM, Bangalore with B, and then Chennai with C, and then we have Delhi, we can represent it with D, and after Delhi we have Jaipur, that can be represented with J, and then we have Jammu, it can be represented with JM, and then at the last we have Mumbai, it can be represented with the letter M. And now since the scale is 1 unit is equal to 5 degrees Celsius, so let's mark the numbers here. It will be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then 45. Now till here it is enough because the maximum temperature shown here is 41 degrees. Now let's start making bars for Ahmedabad. For Ahmedabad, the maximum temperature was 38 degrees Celsius. So its bar will be like this. And the minimum was 29 degrees Celsius. So it will be approximately like this. And for Amritsar, the highest temperature or the maximum temperature was 37 degrees Celsius. So it will be like this. And then the minimum was 26 degrees Celsius. So it will be like this. And then we have Bangalore. The maximum was 28 and the minimum is 21. So for the maximum we will get the bar as this and the minimum is 21, so it will be like this. And for Chennai we are having 36 degrees Celsius, so it will be like this, and the minimum is 27, so it will be like this. And then for Delhi the maximum is 38 and the minimum is 28. So for the maximum we will get a bar like this, and for minimum, which is 28, it will be like this. Now after Delhi we are having Jaipur. The maximum temperature here was 39 degrees Celsius, so it will be like this. And then the minimum was 29, so it will be like this. Then we have Jammu. The maximum is 41, so it will be like this. And the minimum here is 26 degrees Celsius, so it will be like this. And then we have Mumbai. The maximum temperature here was 32 degrees Celsius, so its bar will be like this. And the minimum here is 27 degrees Celsius, so its bar will be like this. So this is how we have drawn a bar graph for this data. Now let's shade every second bar which is representing minimum temperature. So the empty bars will be representing maximum temperature and the shaded ones will be representing minimum temperature. Let's shade every second bar. This is just to differentiate which bar is for the maximum temperature and which one is for the minimum temperature. This will make our comparison very easy. The interpretation will be much better if we will shade one of the bar. So like this, we have shaded every bar here, every second bar. So this is the bar graph for the given data. Now we have to answer few questions based on this bar graph. The first question is, which city has the largest difference in the minimum and maximum temperature on the given date? Now as we can see from this bar graph, difference between unshaded bar and the shaded bar is maximum for Jammu. Therefore, answer for this question will be Jammu. So the answer for the first question is Jammu. Now the second question here is, which is the hottest city and which is the coldest city? Now as we can see here in the bar graph, the highest temperature or the maximum temperature is for Jammu, as we can see here, and the minimum temperature is for Bangalore, as we can see here in the bar graph. Therefore we can say the hottest city is Jammu and the coldest one is Bangalore. Now the third question here is, we have to tell two cities where maximum temperature of one was less than the minimum temperature of the other. Now as we can see here in the graph, the maximum temperature of Bangalore is less than the minimum temperature of the Jaipur. So therefore, one such cities are Bangalore and Jaipur, and the second pair of such cities can be Bangalore and Ahmedabad, as we can see here. The maximum temperature for Bangalore is less than the minimum temperature of Ahmedabad. Therefore, answer for this question will be Bangalore and Jaipur, or it can be Bangalore and Ahmedabad. Now the last question is, we have to tell the city which has least difference between its minimum and the maximum temperature. Now as we can see from here, from the bar graph, the difference between the heights of the shaded bar and the unshaded bar is minimum for the Mumbai. For every other cities, it is higher than Mumbai. Therefore, answer for this question will be Mumbai. So in this question, one tabular form of the data was given to us, and from this form of data, we had drawn a bar graph, and then using that bar graph, we have answered these questions.